the first one, just like walking along. And the first thing I noticed was I probably would have been about 50 to 100 metres away. I was sitting in a car, had the binoculars, and I thought, wow, that's an unusual looking animal. And there's stripes on its hindquarters, stripes along its tail. But what got me was the head, like a prehistoric looking head on it. I was just totally amazed. And then I was going out to this particular place probably, I'd say, about 2 or 3 times a week. I got a camcorder, took the camcorder out there. The first time, that's what I got.
How many times have you been out there on separate occasions and witnessed these striped animals?
I would say at least a dozen.
Wow.
At least a dozen. I probably went out there over a period of, I'd say, 12 months. On one occasion I saw I'm assuming a female with 2 pups, and they're just like, following her around. And I remember her actually lying down, and then she got up. Mm-hmm. These 2 little guys were lighter than her, but they both had stripes. And and they sort of went over to her, and then she stood up, and they just all wandered off over to the left-hand side, up into the
and back
scrub.
Up into the scrub.
Yeah, because there it's very, very desolate. There are no houses anywhere near that place.
Okay.
It's not the only one I have seen out there that I have seen.
And they've all had
quite
stripes.
a few. Yeah, all the same characteristics as that one.
Yeah.
The long straight tail, the stripes, the big head, just a very bizarre looking head. I know one time I did see one which was going the same way as this one here, and then behind it, over further, there was a fox. And I remember thinking now, but he was coming from the opposite way. I'm thinking now, what's going to happen if these 2 meet? But they didn't even cross paths.
So you actually witnessed a fox,
yeah, a fox and one
and
of
a thylacine at the same time.
But they were like a fair distance apart. They would have been a good 100 metres.
But they were in the same general area.
Yeah.
And
this thylacine, he was a lot bigger and broader than the fox. The fox had the typical bushy tail, pointy nose, the red colour, and this guy here, he was the browny grey, the long straight tail, and a different gait about him altogether than the fox too, whereas a fox would trot, but this one sort of like ambled. Another one that I saw too when I was driving, and I thought what I saw was a dead wallaby on the side of the road. As I went past it, it got up, and it was actually what I believe to be a thylacine, and I don't know if he was sick or injured, and he had blue eyes. And he just got up and he ambled across the road like a real awkward gait about him, and went off into the bush. And I remember thinking I would love to stop the car, get out and try and track him down, but I was a bit worried that, would it attack me?
How's his reaction going to be to that?
Yeah. But again, he was long straight tail, and stripes on his tail, and I reckon he had a couple of stripes on his back. The really big, ugly head, and another...
So how far from the front of the car?
Oh my God, he would have only probably been a couple of feet from me, about 5 feet in front of me.
So you got a really good look at him.
Yeah, I was like basically right beside him.
With this particular animal in this footage, I'm quite convinced myself that it's not a fox for a couple of reasons. When the animal first comes into the screens, it does appear to have its rear hock go flat when it steps, which would give the indication that it has that typical rear foot like a thylacine. It's got an incredibly thick neck and looks very stocky in its build, and it also has that very long, stiff tail that looks like an extension of the backbone, essentially. It doesn't really move. It certainly doesn't sway side to side like a dog. I think you can quite confidently say this is not a dog in this video, and the only other thing it could be would be a fox.
One of these creatures back up against a reed, and it sprayed like a cat. Like I said, I was Googling how foxes urinate, and they urinate the same as a normal dog,
right,
their leg. But this thing backed up against one of those reeds there and just sprayed like a male cat would. I know what a fox and a mangy fox looks like, and these guys are totally different.